This is a guide for connecting your Postgres server to Graphweaver. You'll need a couple things before we start. You'll need Node version 18 or greater and PNPM version 8 or greater. You'll also need a Postgres server up and running on port 5432. You'll need a user named Postgres with an empty password, also on port 5432. Once you have those things up and running, we can create a new database. Let's call it GW for Graphweaver. And let's just make sure that we've created that real quick. Yep, we have that Graphweaver database. Next, let's put some data in there. This is going to create a user table. That user table has been created. And let's put in some dummy data as users. Let's quickly double check that those things were all created. Open this up. Let's refresh. Yep, we got that user table. And we have our dummy data. Don't store your passwords as strings in your database. That's a security risk. But this is just example data, and it's just to get us going, so that's okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to initialize the latest version of Graphweaver. And we'll call this project Postgres example. And we're going to be using the micro ORM Postgres backend. We'll select that. And yes, we want to create this. Great. We will cd into that new directory, and we will pnpm install all the dependencies. Now that those dependencies have been added, we can start the server. And the server is running on localhost 9000. Let's just check that out. Great. Now we haven't connected to a data source yet. That's our next step. We're going to run an import command. npx graphweaver import PostgreSQL. Let's turn off our server first. Let's run this import command. It's going to ask us a couple questions. Like, what's our host name? That's correct. Our database name is GW. That user is named Postgres. The password is blank. And the port is 5432. Great, that import command has run. And what that has done is it has created this backend folder with the entities and schema, with our GraphQL entities and their resolvers and our database entities. And so you can see our user here, and then our GraphQL schema user here. What that means is now when we start up that server again, pstart, and we go back to localhost 9000, we'll refresh. Now we have that new data source right here, and we can see all our users. And let's just make a GraphQL request just to finish off here. There's all of our users. That's connecting a Postgres database to Graphweaver.